Hey, good morning, y'all. We're gonna let a few get on board here, and we'll get started. I'm getting started a little early this morning. Uh, got a little later tea time than normal, but so we're gonna hang out here for a little bit at the clubhouse, a little clubhouse golf and God before we tee off. But anyways, thanks for joining me this morning. It's beautiful. It's windy here today, but got nice rain. The grass looks green everywhere we're at. I hope it's good for y'all where you're at. But thanks for joining me this morning. I think I want to talk this morning just a little bit about how we see ourselves. I think if there's one thing that people could do, that they could change immediately, that would reflect in their life almost instantaneously, it's just how they see themselves. So do me a favor real quick, hit the share button. As you're watching this, just share it on Facebook. If you have an Instagram or a Twitter account, or a Snapchat or TikTok, just grab that link from the top and share it for me. I think the more people that hear the words of God, the better off they're going to be. So, all right, let's get started. So, how do you see yourself? Picture someone who has just lost their job. How do you think they see themselves? Picture a drug addict who is addicted and wants to wants to break that habit, but doesn't know how. I hear this a lot, especially in the dating world. You hear, man, my picker's broken. They talk about how they pick the wrong people, and I think anytime that we have a loser mentality or a victim mentality or a feel sorry for ourselves mentality, that can be a reflection of how we grew up. That can be a reflection of what we've been told, what we've listened to. So I think it's really important that we hear something positive. And I've been a believer for a long time. I haven't always acted like it. I haven't always tried to be a better believer every day. I had great parents. I had great grandparents, great leadership. And even with all that, you still make mistakes and you still have to move on. But just a couple of weeks ago, I was shown this passage in Revelations. It's Revelations 1, 5, and 6, and it talks about how God has made us a kingdom. And it took me a little while to really understand what that meant. But it goes on further to say priests to God the Father. So think about that. He's calling us kings and queens and prince and princesses, royalty. Like if you start thinking of yourself as a king, what do you start thinking of? Well, you start thinking of riches and fame and rulers and all the cool stuff, right? All the cool stuff. But think about it. What if you were a king? Well, if you were king, you could do whatever you wanted to do. People would worship you. They would bow down to you. They would serve you in so many capacities. But with that kingship comes a ton of responsibility. And as we see in the Bible and as we see in today's times, if you are a ruler, you are a king, and you abuse your powers, God will snatch that up. I don't know how many times God has snatched kingdoms up from me that he gave me because I wasn't taking care of them and treating them with respect that they deserve. But just think about it. Being in charge, making rules, it all comes with being a king. We are a king to Christ. And, the Bible gives us some guidelines and gives us, some of you are thinking, okay, well, yeah, Jake, I'm a king. Me and my two dogs. I am the king of my two dogs. Well, you know what? He doesn't say how big your kingdom will be. He doesn't say how big your kingdom is now. He says he's giving you a kingdom. He also says in Matthew 13:12 that he who has little will have more. Look, if we take responsibility with what we have and we do good with it, God will give us more. People always talk about having millions of dollars. Well, if you're not good with $100, he's sure not going to give you $1 million. And I think that's kind of it's kind of an easy concept to sit here and think, but when we actually try to apply it, it's kind of crazy, and it's crazy hard. Um, anyways, let's go back. Let's go back to the drug addict, or let's go back to um, the man or woman who just lost his job and feel like they completely let down their family. Let me reference one Bible story, Joseph. God gave that man a kingdom, but he did not give it to him right away. That boy, he was sold by his brothers into slavery. And I don't know the specific number of years, but it was horrible. Like, he lived horribly, but he had the dream that God gave him. And I know that God has given each and every one of you a dream. Now, whether you know it, or you can visualize it, or you can see it yet, I don't know. But if you pray and you keep asking for it, you'll get that. He'll give you that vision. He'll give you that dream. But just think about Joseph, all the things that he went through. And then finally he got his kingdom. And when he was a ruler, when he was king, he was gentle, he was kind. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about is there are a number of verses in the Bible. So now that you know you are a king in Christ, how does that change your outlook in life? How does that change things for you? It should make the little things and even the big things, all the problems in life, it should reassure you that they are going to be okay. Now, I can't tell you that when I was in the hospital bed with an open abdomen and all that stuff that goes with it that I was feeling, I didn't feel like a king. I mean, I was getting waited on by great hospital staff, but I didn't feel like a king. But now looking back, I was definitely a king. Man, I got a miracle. I got the greatest gift of life again. And so what do you do while you're waiting on your kingdom? What do you do? How do you get out of the mess that you're in? And I always remember the old phrase, act as if, fake it till you make it. That's okay, but it's not necessarily biblical. But there is some things that are biblical, and that you have a kingdom now. It may not be the kingdom that you want or the kingdom that you think God has put into your heart, but in the meantime, you have to act like a king. What does a king do? So Deuteronomy 17:18-20 gives us a very, very good, clear guideline of what a king should do. And this is the first one kills me. It says to copy my words. It says to write out the Bible and to read it daily. Back in the old days, they had copywriters. Kings had men and women that would write out the scrolls for them. But that's not what God said. God said, you, King Solomon, you, King David, he told them to write it out. That's crazy to think about sitting down and writing out. For us today, that would be typing it out on the computer. You know how long that would take? Yep, a long time. You know how much we would learn if we did that? Everybody learns to memorize Scripture just visually looking at it. But if you had to type it out and you had to look at it and read it, man, you'd soak that in a whole lot better, I think. So that's the first instruction. And then he tells us why to do this, because when you do this, you will know my commandments and you will follow them. Guys, that's what God wants for us all, is sanctification, to be more like Jesus, to follow that Bible every day. And then he says it will also teach you to stay humble. This is a tough one, especially in this society where we have leaders who are boastful and full of pride and full of ego. And man, you're talking to one right here. You're looking at one right here. But every day I get a little bit more humble. And this winter humbled me more than anything, which is why I'm doing these video casts now and these podcasts, because I have a second chance at life and I want to make sure I give and get the most out of it. So stay humble. But more importantly, he goes on to further tell us to speak for the mute, to take care of the impoverished. That's what a good ruler, that's what a king does. He takes care of his kingdom. Think of like, I love the Lion. All the bad that was there, but then you had the lion. The lion, think of the symbolism of that. And his job was to take care of his kingdom, to make sure everyone was provided for, everyone had opportunity. That's what a king does. And you have a kingdom. Like I said, it could be 2 cats sitting at home. It could be your family. It could be your extended family. I have some friends who, their parents are grown adults, and they are the king and queen of their family because they're closer to God. They're doing God's work in their family. So your kingdom could be a lot of different things. So don't credit yourself short. If you're sitting in a drug recovery house right now, what's your kingdom? Your kingdom is your heart, your body, your mind. You have to take care of it. You have to get it, and then God will start giving you more and more and more and more and more. And you have to start with yourself, and He's given us those guidelines. Copy the Bible, meditate it, read it daily, follow His commandments. Like those are just so crucial things. To think of yourself as a king. You're not going to treat yourself bad. You're going to treat yourself like royalty. You're going to be responsible because your kingdom should last. So I think when we are struggling and we see others that are struggling and we know they're believers, remind them of their royalty. Remind them that they are kings, queens, priests. Remind them of that verse in Revelations. And I really think it's changing. I know that it's changing my life. Oh, and one last one here. This will ruffle some feathers. Proverbs talks a couple of verses about what kings should and shouldn't do. Proverbs 31:4. I'm just going to leave this one here. Wine and beer are not for rulers because it changes their judgment. Wine and beer are only for the perishing, for the distressed, to forget about their poverty. Let that sit with you for a little bit. Who do you want to be there? Do you want to be a ruler? Or do you want to be impoverished and distressed? Anyways, that's just a little extra verse I thought I'd throw in there. A lot of you ask me why I don't drink anymore. And, there you go. There you have it. So anyways, thanks for a little early Goff and God this morning. If you have any questions, reach out to me. By all means, share on all your social media platforms. Not for me, but these are great verses. And I don't know why I keep talking about the drug addict today, but I just have a feeling that there's somebody watching that needs to believe that someone out there thinks highly of them, and God does. And so if we share that message, we can change some lives. So anyways, thanks for joining me this morning with Goff and God. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day.
We're chasing dreams, drinking coffee, it's motivation. Java Therapy, it's a podcast. A cup of Joe, making life better with love and hope. We're chasing dreams, chasing dreams, chasing dreams, chasing dreams.